wishful thought you keep talking yourself out of. This person is real. This person is present. This person is carrying something for you right now that they have not yet fully said out loud. And what they are carrying is love. Not the kind that comes with conditions attached. Not the kind that shows up when things are easy and disappears when they get complicated. The kind that stays, the kind that looks at all of you, the parts you show and the parts you hide, and says, yes, still yes. That is what this reading is about. And before we even touch the cards, I want you to hear that because Spirit does not bring a message like this lightly. This is not a reading about potential. This is a reading about someone who has already decided, let me pull first card, the Empress. And I feel like this card is doing something very specific in this position. The Empress is not a card of searching. She is not a card of longing or waiting or wondering whether love will come. She is the embodiment of love that is already present, already rooted, already growing. And I feel like that is exactly what is sitting around your energy right now. This person, I feel like they see you the way the Empress sees everything she tends to, with patience, with warmth, with the kind of attention that notices things. The small things, the things you never pointed out, never announced, never asked anyone to see. They just see them, and that kind of seeing is rare. It is the kind of thing that does not happen by accident. It happens because this person has been paying attention to you in a way that goes beyond the surface. They have been watching the way you carry yourself, the way you handle the things life hands you, the way you show up, even when showing up costs you something. And what they have observed has done something to them. It has opened something inside them that they were not entirely expecting. Something that, once it opened, they realized they did not want to close. Second card, the Ace of Cups, okay. So the Ace of Cups appearing here is one of the most powerful confirmation cards this deck contains. Because the Ace of Cups is a new beginning in the emotional world, it is the very first moment of something that has the capacity to become everything. And I feel like this card is specifically marking this period, this window right now, as the opening of something that is going to change your emotional landscape. Not disrupt it, not shake it, change it, in the way that real love changes a person slowly, steadily, in ways that feel like becoming rather than losing. I feel like this person is standing at the edge of something with you. And they are not hesitating because they are unsure. They are standing there because they want to do this right. Because what they feel for you is not something they want to rush or mishandle. They feel like you deserve to be approached with care, with intention, with the kind of deliberateness that says, I am not here by accident. I am here because I chose to be here, and I would choose this again. Third card. Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups here is telling me something about the nature of this connection. There is a familiarity here that goes beyond the obvious. I feel like when you are around this person, or even just when you think about them, there is something that feels known, like a frequency you recognize without being able to explain why. Like your nervous system settles in a way it does not settle with everyone. And the Six of Cups says that is not coincidence. That is resonance. That is two people who carry something similar enough in their emotional core that being near each other produces that specific, quiet recognition. And this person feels it too. They feel it maybe even more than you do, because I feel like they have been sitting with it longer, turning it over, looking at it from every angle, and arriving every single time at the same conclusion. That what they feel for you is unconditional. That there is no version of you they would not want. That their love for you does not come with an expiration date or a list of requirements you have to keep meeting. Now I want to sit with you for a moment, not with them, with you. Because this reading is not just about what is coming towards you. It is also about what has been living inside you while you waited for it. And I feel like there is a lot there, more than you have been able to say out loud to most people. Let me pull. First card, Four of Cups, and I want to be honest about what I see here, because I think you need to hear it said plainly. There has been a weariness in you around love, not bitterness, not anger, not the kind of closed-off energy that says, I am done with all of this, but a tiredness, A quiet, accumulated tiredness that comes from wanting something real for a long time and not quite finding it, from almost and not quite, from getting close enough to feel it and then watching it pull back before it fully arrived. And I feel like that tiredness has made you careful in a way that looks like strength from the outside, because you have learned how to hold your wanting quietly, how to not let it show too much, how to move through your life with warmth and openness while keeping a certain chamber of yourself, the most honest one, a little bit protected because that chamber got hurt before. Not catastrophically, but enough. Enough to make you thoughtful about who gets access to it now. Enough to make you slow down where you might once have moved quickly. And I want to name that because the Four of Cups is not a card of damage. It is a card of discernment that was earned, of someone who knows their own value well enough now to not just hand their heart to the first warm presence that appears. And that discernment, that careful, quiet discernment you have developed, is actually one of the reasons this love is coming the way it is coming, because you stopped settling, even when settling would have been easier, even when loneliness made settling feel almost reasonable. You held the line and the universe noticed. Second card, the star, appears in the position of your inner world. I pay attention. Because the star is the card that appears after the storm has passed. It is the card of someone who went through something genuinely hard, sat inside the difficulty of it, processed it with more honesty than they probably got credit for, and came out the other side not broken, but clearer, quieter in themselves, more settled in what they actually want. And I feel like that is exactly where you are right now. You are not in the storm anymore. You are in the after, in the part where the sky is clear and the light is soft, and something in you is starting to believe, maybe carefully, maybe not out loud yet, that good things are actually allowed to happen to you, that you are not somehow exempt from the kind of love that feels safe and steady and real. Because I feel like part of what you have been carrying, underneath everything else, is a quiet doubt about whether you specifically get to have this. Whether the kind of love this reading describes is actually available to someone like you. And I want to speak directly to that doubt, because the cards are not showing me someone who is waiting for love to finally notice them. The cards are showing me someone love has already found, someone who is standing in the light of it right now, even if they cannot quite see the full shape of it yet. You are not outside of this. You are already inside it. Third card, Two of Wands. And the Two of Wands here is interesting because it is a card of standing on the threshold of something larger, of someone who can already see the horizon, who knows something significant is ahead, but has not yet taken the full step forward into it. And I feel like that is where you are emotionally with this connection. You sense it. You have probably sensed it for longer than you have let yourself fully acknowledge. There is a part of you that already knows what this person is to you, that already recognizes the weight of this connection, that already understands somewhere beneath the logic and the caution and the careful management of your own hoping that this is different, that this one is not another almost. And the Two of Wands is asking you to let yourself stand in that knowing, not to leap before you are ready. Not to abandon the thoughtfulness that has served you, but to stop talking yourself out of what you already feel, because the horizon you are looking at is real, and the love on the other side of it is real, and you are allowed to walk toward it. You are allowed to want it fully. You are allowed to want it fully. You are allowed to stop bracing for it to disappear, because this time it is not going anywhere. Now we turn to their side, because everything we just looked at in your energy, the weariness, the careful hope, the quiet knowing, all of it has a mirror on their side. And I want to show you what that mirror looks like. Let me pull. First card, Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups in this position is deeply telling, because the Knight of Cups is not a card of someone who loves casually. This is not a person who moves through connections lightly, giving pieces of themselves away without thought, and then wondering why nothing ever holds. The Knight of Cups is someone who feels everything deeply, sometimes inconveniently deeply. And when they love with a kind of wholeness that most people never actually experience from another person. Because for them, love is not a transaction. It is not something they offer in exchange for something else. It is something they give because they cannot help but give it. Because when they feel it, it fills them up to the point where holding it back becomes its own kind of ache. And I feel like that is exactly what has been happening inside this person. They have been carrying what they feel for you quietly, carefully, with a restraint that does not come naturally to them. Not because they are unsure, not because they are playing a game or trying to manage your impression of them, but because they are genuinely afraid of the weight of what they feel. Afraid that if they say it too plainly, too early, too fully, it will land wrong. That you will not be ready for it, that it will feel like too much. And so they have been measuring, pacing themselves, giving you pieces, watching how you receive them, and then going home and sitting with how much more they still have to give. Second card, Nine of Cups, and I want you to hear what the Nine of Cups is saying about this person specifically, because the Nine of Cups is the wish card. It is the card of someone whose deepest, most private wanting is sitting right at the surface, and their wish is you. Not a version of you, not you with certain parts removed or adjusted or improved. You exactly as you are, in all your specificity, with all your history and your texture, and the particular way you move through the world. That is what they want. I feel like this person has been around enough people to know the difference between a connection that is convenient and a connection that is real. And they know with the kind of clarity that does not require convincing that what they feel for you is real. So real that it has shifted the way they think about their own future. Because I feel like before you or before this connection deepened into what it has become, this person had a certain picture of what their life was going to look like. A picture that was fine, manageable, maybe even comfortable. But since you became part of their awareness, that picture has changed because now there is a version of the future they find themselves wanting that has you in it, specifically, clearly, undeniably. And that want is not going away. The Nine of Cups says it has already become part of how they imagine everything forward. Third card, the Hierophant. And the Hierophant appearing here is significant because this is not a card of casual feeling. This is a card of commitment, of someone who takes their bond seriously, who does not enter into emotional agreements lightly, who understands at a deep and considered level that love is not just a feeling that happens to you, but a choice you make repeatedly over time. And I feel like this person has been sitting with the choice consciously, examining it from every angle with the kind of seriousness that tells me they are not interested in giving you something halfway. They want to do this right. They want to show up for you in a way that is consistent, that is grounded, that you can actually count on, because I feel like part of what drives this person is a need to be trustworthy, to be someone whose words match their actions, whose presence is reliable, whose love once given does not suddenly shift or retract or come with conditions you were never warned about. The Hierophant says they are preparing to offer you something with roots, not a feeling that will be intense for a season and then fade, something they intend to sustain, something they are already building the foundation for, quietly in the choices they are making and the way they are showing up. And the last thing I feel from their energy before we move into what they are about to do is this: they are not afraid of you. They are not overwhelmed by the depth of what they feel. They are simply waiting for the right moment to let you see it, and that moment is very close now. Because something has shifted in their timing, now we look at what is actually about to happen, because everything we have covered so far, their feelings, their restraint, their quiet decision, all of it has been building towards something concrete. And the cards are ready to show us exactly what that looks like. Let me pull. First card, the Chariot. And I want you to feel the energy of the Chariot for a moment before I say anything else. Because the Chariot is not a passive card. It is not a card of waiting or contemplating or sitting with something and deciding later. The Chariot is movement directed, intentional, committed movement toward a specific destination. And in this position, that destination is you. I feel like this person has made a decision, a real one, not the kind that lives only in the mind and gets quietly abandoned when the moment feels too vulnerable. A decision that has already changed how they are showing up, how they are thinking about time, how they are thinking about what they want their days to actually look like going forward. And I feel like you may have already noticed something shifting in them. Even if you could not fully name it, a different quality of attention, a directness that was not quite there before, a way of being present with you that feels more deliberate than it used to. That is the Chariot energy. That is this person moving towards you with intention, not frantically, not desperately, but with the quiet, steady, unstoppable momentum of someone who has decided and is no longer second guessing the decision. Second card, Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups appearing here is telling me something about how this love is going to begin to show itself. Because the Three of Cups is a card of celebration, of joy that gets shared, of connection that spills out into the open and becomes something that other people can see and feel and be warmed by. And I feel like part of what is coming is this person wanting to celebrate you. Not in a loud or performative way, but in the specific, tender way of someone who wants the people around them to know that you matter. Who wants to bring you into their world, not as an afterthought, not as a maybe, but as someone they are proud to be standing next to. I feel like there are moments coming, specific moments, where this person is going to look at you in a way that makes it impossible to doubt what you are to them. Where the way they speak about you or speak to you or simply hold your presence in a room is going to communicate something their words have not yet fully caught up to. And those moments are going to land. They are going to land in a part of you that has been waiting for exactly this kind of evidence. That quiet, sustained, look how they treat you evidence that something is genuinely real. Third card, Page of Pentacles. And the Page of Pentacles here is showing me the practical dimension of how this person intends to love you. Because for them, love is not just a feeling they carry internally. It is something they want to build tangibly in the real world, in the specific and physical texture of everyday life. I feel like this person is already thinking about how to create something with you, not in a rushed or presumptuous way, but in the way of someone who has started to notice which parts of their daily life feel better when you are in them, which conversations feel more alive, which ordinary moments become something different just because you are present for them, and they are beginning to imagine what it would look like to have more of that. To build a life that has you woven into it consistently, not occasionally, not when the timing is perfect, but as an actual steady presence they can count on and be counted on by. The Page of Pentacles says they are ready to put in the work, not because loving you feels like work, but because you are worth the effort of doing this with care, worth the patience of building something that lasts. And the specific thing that is about to change, the thing that moves all of this from internal to actual, is that they are going to reach. They are going to close some of the distance they have been maintaining. They are going to give you something real to respond to, something that makes their intention clear. And in part 5, we look at what they have never said out loud. The confessions, the truths, the things that have been living underneath everything they have shown you, because what they have kept hidden is even more powerful than what they have already revealed. And I feel like hearing it is going to do something to you, something that settles a question you have been carrying for a while now, a question you maybe stopped asking out loud because you were not sure you were ready for the answer, but the cards say you are ready. And so is this person, the confession is coming. This part is about what they have never said, the things that live underneath everything they have shown you, the thoughts they return to when no one is watching, the feelings they have not yet found the right moment to hand to you, because I feel like this person carries a lot they have not spoken, and the cards are about to speak it for them. Let me pull. First card, the Moon, and the Moon in this position is one of the most honest cards this deck can offer, because the Moon does not deal in performance. It does not care about what looks right, or what is easy to say, or what protects a person from feeling exposed. The Moon illuminates what is actually true, what lives in the deep, unguarded interior of someone, what they think about in the dark, in the quiet, when all the careful management of their outer presentation falls away. And what I see in this person's dark and quiet is you. I feel like you are the thought they return to before they fall asleep. not anxiously, not in the way of someone troubled by something they cannot resolve, but in the soft, involuntary way of someone whose mind moves naturally toward what it loves. Like water finding its level, you are where their thoughts settle when the noise of the day is gone, and they have never told you that. They have never said, I think about you more than I let on. I think about you in the ordinary moments, not just when something reminds me of you, but as a background presence in my days that I have stopped trying to explain away. They have not said that. But it is true, and the moon wants you to know it. Second card, the Lovers. And when the Lovers appears in the position of hidden confession, it carries a very specific kind of weight. Because the Lovers is not simply a card of romantic feeling, it is a card of recognition, of two people seeing each other truly across whatever distance has existed between them and understanding that what they are looking at is something they want to move toward. And I feel like this person has had that moment, a specific moment, or maybe a series of moments where they looked at you and something in them became very still and very certain at the same time. Where all the noise in their head, all the reasons to be careful, all the questions about timing and readiness went quiet, and what remained in that quiet was a clarity so complete it almost frightened them, because it said this person, not eventually, not ideally, this person. And they have been holding that clarity privately, carrying it through conversations with you like a secret tucked inside their chest, wondering whether you could feel it, wondering whether the way they look at you sometimes gives it away, wondering whether they are ready to stop holding it and start handing it to you. And what I feel from the Lovers is that the answer to that last question has become yes. They are ready. The holding is almost over. Third card, King of Cups. And the King of Cups as the final hidden confession card is extraordinary because the King of Cups is the card of emotional mastery, of a love that is not chaotic or consuming or dependent on the other person managing their feelings for them, but a love that is steady, that holds space. That remains warm and present even when things are complicated. And I feel like this card is showing me the confession that lives deepest in this person, which is not simply that they love you, but that they want to love you well, that their deepest, most private commitment, the one they have not yet said out loud, is to be someone you can actually rest in. Someone whose love does not come with volatility or uncertainty or the constant low-grade anxiety of wondering whether today is a good day or a bad day. They want to be the person who makes you feel safe, who makes the part of you that has been careful and protected and slow to trust feel like it can finally exhale, because I feel like they see that part of you. The guarded part, the part that learned to hold itself carefully. And instead of being impatient with it or trying to move past it too quickly or making you feel like your caution is an inconvenience, they feel tenderness toward it. They understand it and they want to be the reason it softens, not because they need you to be different, but because they want you to feel that safe. That is the confession underneath all the other confessions. That their love for you is not just about what you give them, it is about what they want to give you consistently. Without conditions, without expiration, that is the unconditional the message of this reading is pointing to. We have covered a lot of ground in this reading, and I want to take a moment before we go into the final cards to just sit with everything that has been confirmed. There is someone who loves you, not halfway, not conditionally, not in the careful, measured way of someone who is still deciding whether you are worth the full extent of what they feel. Someone who has already decided, who has been carrying the weight of that decision quietly, waiting for the right moment to let you see it. And that moment is here. Let me pull the final cards. First card, the World. And I want you to understand what it means when the World appears as the near future card in a reading like this. Because the World is not a card of almost. It is not a card of soon, or eventually, or with some work, this could become something real. The World is completion. It is the card of a cycle arriving at its fullest expression, of something that has been building quietly and steadily, finally reaching the place it was always moving toward. And in this reading, in this position, the world is telling me that what is coming between you and this person is not the beginning of something uncertain. It is the arrival of something that has been in motion for longer than either of you may realize a completion, a recognition, a coming together of two people who were always going to find their way to this moment. And I feel like when it lands, when this love fully steps into the open between you, there is going to be a specific quality to it that you will recognize immediately. A sense of, yes, of course. This is what it was always supposed to feel like. Second card, Ten of Pentacles. And the Ten of Pentacles is one of the most grounding, rooted, lasting cards this deck contains. Because the Ten of Pentacles is not about a season. It is not about a chapter. It is about a life. About something built with care and intention that becomes part of the permanent fabric of your existence. And I feel like this card is confirming something the entire reading has been pointing toward. This love is not a temporary thing. This person is not a temporary person in your story. What is coming between you has the energy of something enduring, something that is going to become part of how you understand your own life when you look back on it. A before and after, not because the love is dramatic or consuming, but because it is real, because real love changes the shape of a life. And this one is going to change yours. In the quietest, most lasting, most meaningful way, third card. The Sunday, and I could not have asked for a more perfect closing card than the Sunday. Because the Sunday is the card of joy. Not the complicated joy that comes mixed with anxiety or uncertainty or the fear that it will not last. Pure joy. The kind that belongs to someone who has come through something long and found themselves standing in open light. Warmth on their face, space around them. A feeling in their chest that says, I am exactly where I am supposed to be. And I feel like that is what is waiting for you on the other side of this. Not perfection, not a love that never asks anything of you or never has a difficult moment, but a love that is fundamentally warm, that feels like home, that makes the ordinary parts of your life feel like enough because the right person is inside them with you. The guidance the cards want to leave you with is simple. Let yourself receive this. That is the only thing being asked of you right now, not to perform certainty you do not feel yet. Not to rush yourself into an openness that needs time, just to let this love approach without closing the door before it arrives. Because you have earned this, every careful, patient, honest year of your life has been moving you toward exactly this, and it is here now, real, steady, unconditional, and entirely yours. The advice is not to force anything, not to manufacture a moment that needs to unfold on its own, but to stop protecting yourself from something that is not trying to hurt you, because this person is not a risk. They are not another situation where you end up absorbing something you did not see coming. They are someone who has been quietly, steadily, intentionally building a love around you that has your safety in it, and the cards want you to feel that, not just understand it intellectually. Feel it in your body. In that quiet interior place that has been holding itself carefully for so long, let it feel that this one is different, because it is, and you already know it. You have known it for a while. You were just waiting for the confirmation, and this reading is it. So go into the rest of your day carrying that not as a wish, not as a hope you are still trying to protect yourself from. And I want to take a moment before we go into the final cards to just sit with everything that has been confirmed. There is someone who loves you, not halfway, not conditionally, not in the careful, measured way of someone who is still deciding whether you are worth the full extent of what they feel. Someone who has already decided, who has been carrying the weight of that decision quietly, waiting for the right moment to let you see it. And that moment is here. Let me pull the final cards. First card, the World. And I want you to understand what it means when the World appears as the near future card in a reading like this. Because the World is not a card of almost. It is not a card of soon, or eventually, or with some work, this could become something real. The World is completion. It is the card of a cycle arriving at its fullest expression. Of something that has been building quietly and steadily, finally reaching the place it was always moving toward. And in this reading, in this position, the world is telling me that what is coming between you and this person is not the beginning of something uncertain. It is the arrival of something that has been in motion for longer than either of you may realize a completion, a recognition, a coming together of two people who were always going to find their way to this moment. And I feel like when it lands, when this love fully steps into the open between you, there is going to be a specific quality to it that you will recognize immediately. A sense of, yes, of course. This is what it was always supposed to feel like. Second card, Ten of Pentacles. And the Ten of Pentacles is one of the most grounding, rooted, lasting cards this deck contains. Because the Ten of Pentacles is not about a season. It is not about a chapter. It is about a life. About something built with care and intention that becomes part of the permanent fabric of your existence. And I feel like this card is confirming something the entire reading has been pointing toward. This love is not a temporary thing. This person is not a temporary person in your story. What is coming between you has the energy of something enduring. Something that is going to become part of how you understand your own life when you look back on it. A before and after, not because the love is dramatic or consuming, but because it is real, because real love changes the shape of a life. And this one is going to change yours. In the quietest, most lasting, most meaningful way, third card. The Sunday, and I could not have asked for a more perfect closing card than the Sunday. Because the Sunday is the card of joy, not the complicated joy that comes mixed with anxiety or uncertainty or the fear that it will not last. Pure joy. The kind that belongs to someone who has come through something long and found themselves standing in open light. Warmth on their face, space around them. A feeling in their chest that says, I am exactly where I am supposed to be. And I feel like that is what is waiting for you on the other side of this. Not perfection, not a love that never asks anything of you or never has a difficult moment, but a love that is fundamentally warm, that feels like home, that makes the ordinary parts of your life feel like enough because the right person is inside them with you. The guidance the cards want to leave you with is simple. Let yourself receive this. That is the only thing being asked of you right now, not to perform certainty you do not feel yet. Not to rush yourself into an openness that needs time, just to let this love approach without closing the door before it arrives. Because you have earned this, every careful, patient, honest year of your life has been moving you toward exactly this, and it is here now, real, steady, unconditional, and entirely yours. The advice is not to force anything, not to manufacture a moment that needs to unfold on its own. But to stop protecting yourself from something that is not trying to hurt you, because this person is not a risk. They are not another situation where you end up absorbing something you did not see coming. They are someone who has been quietly, steadily, intentionally building a love around you that has your safety in it. And the card